Hello again to my YouTube channel. Today I will discuss with you one of the package of Python. It's CSV package. What we see before, pandas provide for us functions help us to reading any extension of file we have. But today we'll discuss with you this package of CSV separately and see how we can use it to write in and read our data. So let's start. So the first step we will do here is to import our package with this keyword of import CSV. So again, I will repeat what the main CSV is separate or common separate value. That means we have the limiter of 5. So for this reason, we need this package to read and write our data. So let's run it. Okay. So I will write for you a syntax to reading this data. So to do these things, we will create a variable, call it if, for example, and we use a keyword of open. Open keyword is provided by Python, and inside of these functions, we're writing our name of file. So in this example, we're working in this test CSV file. So let's do it. test1.csv. Okay, this is the first time or the first step we do. We are creating a variable and using this open function. Then we passed the path of file we have here. So in our case, we work locally. So for this reason, we give just the name of file. So the second step here we have is to create a reader from the CSV file. So to do this, just we are creating another variable, call it for example reader equal to CSV. Okay, CSV package that we import point, and we have a function called reader, and we passed this if this passed variable. So we run it. Okay, that's taking a few time. Okay, we are waiting to run and execute this command we have here. So then the second step is coming after that is okay, we'll run it here, we'll run this variable, then that's his work. Okay, run it again. So the next step here is to using the loop in functions, and I discussed maybe in some tutorials how we can use the loop in Python. So I will build in a playlist of Python separately and discuss deeply the Python and all these functions provided by Python. So for now, I will use this loop for. So to do this in Python, just it's easy. Keyword for, and we have variable for iterate all the list or data structure we have. So in our case, the reader is can iterate and all the file we have here in uh, reader. Okay, reader, because we store the data here in this variable reader, and we use the keyword print to see all the data we have inside this on this file. So we print it because a variable is loop all the file here. So we run it and we see the result here. Okay, as we see. Okay, sorry. So we have the data here. Okay, and we can do the same things when using the pandas package. Pandas as pd, for example, here. Okay, we run it and they will read this data here. Just taking a few time to run all the packages and all the. Okay, I will close this editor. Okay, that's taking a few time to run all the functions and the tool we have inside of pandas. So we're waiting fine for trying to execute and read the data. So well, so the syntax here is to using this alias of pd dot reading, and we use these functions of race is the from pandas, and we pass the path of our file here. In our case, is test1.csv. Is great. Okay, close all these things. Okay, so we now run this uh, and see what's happening inside this variable, so we kind of get the same result as we see before. Okay, here I read the same data, but differently using the package of CSV. But in this case, I read with pandas, or I read this data with pandas. Okay, I will pass now. Also, I can use. So let's continue. Then, the second syntax we can use to read our data is with the loop, but this time with loop here. I will use. So let's see the syntax here. How or what I can do here. I will transform it to Markdown just to make it clear as possible. And I will create other cell here. Okay. So what we can do here is to reading the data, but differently with the syntax. Okay. So we with loop here. I will writing just with open using this keyword of open. In our case here is I will write in the name of file we have here. So in our case, this is a test CSV, of course. Because we work locally, then I will write in this test CSV. Okay, and I add in this alias as f. So in this instance, what I will write here is I will open this file called test1.csv as f. I replace all these things with f just to make it sure this is alias. Okay, and the next step here, I need to store the data in some variables. So in our case, I will create lines here. I will to store all the data here in the list if necessary. Okay, because if I don't store all the data here, this is will be not possible to read it, because I need to make it comprehensive loops. So for avoiding this, I need to store it in the list. Maybe this will be good. So here I will create the CSV. I will use the reader and F. Okay, so the syntax we have here. Then next step here is to create two variables to store the data we have here. I will create header, so header and values, and the second variable here is values. Then I will just take in first values of index 0, and the values I will assign it with all the rest of values. Okay, I run firstly, and I run again these variables we have. Then what the next step here is to create a dictionary. Maybe that will be different for you, but as I did before, when I create the Python or playlist of Python, I will discuss all these things deeply. Well, I will store it here in a dictionary, the structure. I will call it, for example, data x equal to uh, the dictionary. We have h and we have values here. So stick to the time. Yeah. So I create this keyword of for in h and v. In I will use here a switch function here because this is the first time I use it. But as I did before, when I create the Python playlist, I will discuss the most Python or the most functions used in Python. I will create zip, and here I will store this variable header I created before and values. But I need to use again this zip function and values here. I will show you these things what it means in Python. Okay, so I run this. When I see the data here, I will find this result. Click, run it. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good, really. So if I call the data I created before here, see it all. This is the data we created before, yeah. So the same result. So when checking the results, so the same thing. So here we have a, maybe have something wrong with this, maybe because I don't know, something different here, but it's okay. When going to B index or BT, I found all these values we have here, 2, 6, and 10. 2 and 6 and 10. We have the same values here. Okay, this is the other way or the other syntax we can use it. Why we have this different syntax to read in the data? Because we need that because when facing the huge data, we need to use all the syntax possible because to decrease the complexity we have of time and the complexity of sources. So for this reason, we need different syntax. So if I will to reading the other data with different syntax. So here I will to copy and paste this code here. Okay. If I use the same syntax with different extension file, that means I will drop this file and create table dot txt. Okay. Well, here I will run again and see lines. What the value we have in this line? Okay, this is the value we have inside of this file. So this file is table. If I want to read it, just I will create other variable row, for example, equal to pd dot read table. Okay, and they will call table dot txt. Okay, and see if this does work. I run it again. So we have row. Okay, so we have the same values here. I mean, we're checking some functions here to see. Okay, we have header. So we have delimiter maybe. The space maybe. Okay, if adding distance, read. Okay, run. Okay, that's work fine. So here I did this attribute, okay, of space, just to show you how this thing is. So it's good. Okay, here and I add in this file of text. This is the content, the values we have inside this file. I check it again. Use this function of read table. I got the same results. Okay, let's go. We have other thing to add here. Uh, so it's possible also to add on the denominator I want. That means if I have files with specific denominator, I can use it. Okay, you can have a common, you can have star, you can have space, you can have dash. Okay, that's depend of course of file that we have or we try to read. We can also use this or some syntax to read or to write in the data, right? Data. We can use this text to write the data here as we want. Mark it down just to make it clear. Okay, I use the same syntax with open. With open, I will give it some name. My data, for example, my data dot 6v. Okay, all these things. I use this file of file. So the next step here is to write in this. So I will create a variable, call it writer, writer, where I'm sure, and csv dot write. So csv dot write, writing writer. So I will use this. Okay, just I will check this function of write. No, we writer, yeah, that's it. The writer and alias of if and kilometer, for example. Writing if I have. Okay, that's okay. Writer, and they will now use this variable of write to write in the data we have here. So we write put write or change this section of write. Okay, does not work. We write row and I will write in all the value we have here. We can create in some values here. For example, 1, 2, and 3. And it will create some values here. I will copy and pass here. See some values. For example, here we create the numbers 1, 2, example 3. We passed. We create some other values here. 4, and we have 5, 6. The last one here. 8. 1. It's the last one. And I will see when I run it. We run here. We have directory. No, I are in here. We write because we were writing here. Now this functions why it does not. Okay, I come in the fault here. The syntax of functions. Because I remember it. It's a long time. We don't revise this syntax. Uh, so when I run it, I will find this table. So when check it, for example, I will create air equal to pd. So now what I will do is I use pandas to read this created with the new or the new file we have here created with the syntax. Just with pandas with read csv. Let's call it my data dot csv. See the r values. That's work. Okay. So what we have here, I create this data just with this syntax. I use this with open the name of file I will create, and I use this keyword of write because I want to write some data. I store all these things with this alias if, then I will use this variable of write to see if the writer inside of this file, and I write the data here. So where I check it this with pandas, I found this result. Okay. So okay, that's the end. I wish to have happy learning with this as I try to show you or share with you. And I will see you again with the new tutorial about JSON data. Thank you and see you. Bye bye.